I never thought I'd be sitting here, trying to put into words a love story that collapsed before it ever had the chance to truly grow. My name is Oliver. I'm 31. And for the last 3 years, I genuinely believed I was building something real with Leia. She had this effortless way of pulling people in. Her laugh, her energy, the ease with which she brightened any space. People always said we looked like we belonged together, like a couple pulled straight from a movie. I believed it, too. The first year was everything I imagined love would feel like. Late-night conversations about who we wanted to become. Spontaneous drives for ice cream at 2 a.m. Our fingers brushing against each other every time we passed in the hallway. Even our routines felt warm instead of dull. I memorized the little things, her exact coffee order, the way she'd tuck her hair behind her ear when nerves crept in, the tune she hummed when she was happy. It felt intimate. It felt safe. But somewhere in the second year, the small fractures appeared. Nothing explosive, nothing dramatic, just subtle shifts I couldn't quite explain. She angled her phone away from me when it lit up. She started coming home late, offering stories about work shifts and meetings that never quite added up. I didn't push. I wanted to trust her. I wanted to believe in what we had. The first real confirmation wasn't some cinematic discovery. I was grabbing a book from her nightstand when a notification popped up. Just a sliver of a message from a name I didn't know. I froze. My heartbeat thudded in my throat. For a moment, I considered shutting her phone and pretending I hadn't seen anything. But I couldn't. Something in me needed the truth. That's when everything clicked into place. Leia had been cheating. It wasn't a suspicion anymore. It was undeniable. My mind went completely blank. The memories, the laughter, the private jokes, all of it suddenly felt fragile, like a dream I'd been naive enough to trust. Anger surged fast and hot. I wanted to shout, demand answers, make her feel even a fraction of the hurt twisting inside me. But something inside me shifted. Standing there with her phone in my hand, I realized losing control wouldn't heal anything. Not my heart, not my dignity. So I chose something different. When I confronted her, I didn't raise my voice. I didn't accuse. I just met her eyes. And in that single moment, I saw everything. Her guilt, her fear, the truth she had been hiding. The words that came out of me surprised even me. Thank you for showing me who you really are. She blinked, stunned. There were no tears, no dramatic apologies. Just her taken aback and me feeling strangely steady. It wasn't cruelty. It wasn't revenge. It was acceptance. Over the next few days, I replayed every moment in my head, the small lies, the times she felt distant, the excuses I brushed aside. I realized I'd been overlooking signs for a long time. And that realization didn't crush me the way I expected. It freed me. Freed me from a relationship that had quietly been draining me. From a love that had become more of a performance than a partnership. My friends, especially Hannah, who always told me I tended to trust too easily, had seen what I didn't want to. I'd been clinging to an ideal, wanting love to be easy, wanting her to be the person I imagined instead of the person she was. But real love isn't imagined. It's honest. It's mutual. And she couldn't offer that anymore. I didn't feel the bitterness people expect after betrayal. I wasn't plotting revenge. I just felt a calm sadness mixed with a strange sense of release. The painful truth was that the relationship I'd been trying to save wasn't mine anymore. Maybe it never had been. The first night alone after confronting her, I sat on my bed and let the stillness wrap around me. It hurt, but the silence felt clean, like I was finally breathing again. I kept thinking about all the signs I'd dismissed, the moments I'd excused, the intuition I'd silenced. And it hit me. People often show you who they are long before you're ready to face it. The real challenge is having the strength to acknowledge it and then act on it. The next morning, I woke up feeling lighter than I had in months. The apartment seemed different, the air clearer. My bed, which had felt suffocating the night before, suddenly felt like a place where I could reclaim myself. I didn't feel the urge to call her or stalk her online. I wasn't wondering who she was with. I just sat there, watching sunlight spill across the floor, finally feeling what it meant to exist outside the illusion I had willingly lived in for far too long. I slowly started opening up to my closest friends about everything that had happened. Hannah listened the way she always did, with that calm, steady mix of empathy and reassurance that made me feel sane again. Ethan, my roommate and the person who never sugarcoated anything, just shook his head. "Oliver," he said, "you dodged a bullet. Seriously. You just don't see it yet." And for the first time, I believed he might be right. Over the next week, I made small but intentional decisions to reclaim some control. I changed my habits. I stopped calling her out of reflex. I stopped questioning myself every time a text went unanswered. I picked up a journal and started writing down things I had never said aloud, thoughts I had been avoiding for months. Seeing those words on paper was strangely freeing. The patterns became obvious. The moments I'd ignored stood out like warnings I'd chosen not to read. Suddenly, the betrayal didn't feel like a shock. It felt like confirmation of things I had been too afraid to acknowledge. Then one day, I saw Leia by chance in a coffee shop. My heart jumped, but the feeling faded quickly. She looked exactly the same, smiling as if nothing had happened. A flood of old memories tried to pull me in. Our late-night conversations, shared plans, the easy comfort of being together, but they were just echoes, not possibilities. I gave her a polite smile. She hesitated and said quietly, "Hi." I answered, just as quietly, "Hi," without a tremor in my voice. Then I walked past her. Not out of spite. Not out of anger. But because I didn't need anything from her anymore. I had already made peace. In the weeks that followed, I began doing things I had put aside for her sake. My hobbies, small weekend getaways, afternoons spent reading somewhere peaceful. Life became simple again. Easy. Good. I met new people without rushing anything, without forcing connection. And although a part of me still felt the sting of what had happened, it no longer felt like an injury. It felt like a reminder of what I deserved, of the standards I should never lower again. Months later, I bumped into Clara, a colleague, at a bookstore. We'd only exchanged light conversations before, but that night we ended up talking over coffee for hours. There was effortless laughter, genuine curiosity, a comfortable warmth. It made me realize that moving on wasn't about erasing the past. It was about learning from it and choosing better going forward. And that's exactly what I intended to do. I didn't let myself dwell on what might have been or what she had thrown away. I focused on new goals, new possibilities, and on letting my heart open slowly, intentionally. I no longer needed dramatic endings or apologies that never came. What I needed was clarity, honesty, and respect, beginning with myself. Looking back, I understand something I couldn't see at the time. Her betrayal wasn't the final chapter. It was the pivot point. It forced me to face truths I had avoided, to stop dismissing the subtle signs, to finally put myself first. And while the loss hurt, what I gained mattered more. The freedom to rebuild, to redefine my boundaries, to expect more from love. So if you're reading this and you've ever felt betrayed, overlooked, or taken advantage of, here's what I've learned. Gratitude isn't only for joy. It's also for the painful moments that reveal who you are and what you won't tolerate. They show you the strength you didn't realize you had, the respect you demand, and the kind of love you truly deserve. I found my fiancé cheating. And instead of breaking down or lashing out, I simply said, "Thank you for showing me who you really are." In that moment, I didn't just see her clearly, I finally saw myself. Stronger, wiser, ready for a love that doesn't come with excuses or half-truths. That was the moment everything shifted. The moment my real life started.